welcome to my channel, Winging It with Ash. Today I want to talk about 5 tips that you need to consider when traveling in 2021. A lot has changed in travel within the last year, and it seems that it is very difficult to figure out exactly what is required. So I would like to share with you some of the research that I've done to figure out what the heck you need for 2021 travel. Hello, I'm Ash. Welcome to my channel. My life has taken some unexpected turns in 2020, leaving me picking up the pieces and pressing restart. I don't know what every day will hold, but I do know I'm just gonna wing it. Thank you so much to the patrons of my channel. You help make Winging It with Ash possible. Spring and summer is just around the corner, and I know so many of you are looking forward to making those summer plans. Now, places are opening up, and I want to give you some of the information that I've been able to look up while I've been researching going to the UK. I am a US citizen, so I have a US passport. Some of the specific things are regulations for US citizens, but I think that a lot of these tips are going to be good for any one of you traveling from any country in the world. My very first tip is that things are constantly changing. Countries' rules, regulations are constantly changing, and with that, you want to pick an airline that has a very flexible rebooking rule. So specifically for me in going to the UK, I booked with Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Atlantic right now has a really good policy where they allow you to cancel a flight and then have an open booking, and you can rebook it for whenever you can travel. I had previously booked a flight to go to the UK. That flight was actually canceled twice, and it can be canceled a week prior to you going, and so taking those chances is really hard. Like, it's kind of stressful because you don't know if your flight's going to be canceled, and then they would book you on another flight, which means possibly layovers or a really long flight, and not a direct flight, which is what I was going for. So definitely take into consideration that your flight can be canceled due to new policies, new regulations, and or something just coming up. So make sure to pick an airline that has a really good policy on rebooking. Now, if you think that your flight potentially changing last minute and or being canceled last minute isn't stressful enough, think about this. For international and some domestic travel here in the US, you are required to provide a negative COVID test. Vaccine or not, currently you need to provide a negative COVID test that is taken 72 hours before your flight leaves. Now, I, for one, have come across this, and I've spoken to many people. There is not a great system for this. It's a requirement, but it's not guaranteed, or there is no great way of knowing if your COVID test is going to come back within that time. Most COVID tests here in the US that I have come across are guaranteed 2 to 5 days within taking the test. Now, that is not meeting the requirements of 72 hours. So when taking those tests, you are taking the chance of it not coming back in time, which then requires people to take multiple tests because they're hoping that one of those tests is going to come back in time without wanting to take the chance of just taking one test and putting all their little eggs in that one test basket. For some countries, they may not require you to have a negative COVID test if you can prove that you have been fully vaccinated and or that you've had the coronavirus and have completely recovered. I've done a lot of research as an American going into the UK and what the requirements are currently. My specific requirements are that I need to provide a negative COVID test 72 hours before my flight leaves. They will check this at the airport, and they will also check this once I arrive in country at immigration. Another thing that I am required to do is 48 hours before my arrival, I need to provide a tracking form for travel into the UK. This is going to ask for all of my information, where I'm staying, where I'm quarantining, what my phone number is that they can get a hold of me at. I am required to provide proof that I have purchased 2 COVID tests while I'm in the UK, and this is through specific private companies that are on their government website. So one of the COVID tests needs to be taken the second day of my 10-day quarantine, and the other is supposed to be taken on the 8th day of my 10-day quarantine. Now, Scotland, England, and Wales have different rules. Specifically Wales, you need to have a 10-day quarantine right now. England has some sort of leave quarantine early scheme at the moment, and you are able to leave your quarantine within 7 days, but you will have to specifically look into that. Now, I do want to stress so much that every country is different. If you're going to the UK, please do not assume that Scotland, England, and Wales have the same rules. They don't. If you're going to Europe, the EU, don't assume that every country has the same rules, because they don't. And if you're here in the US and you're traveling domestically, do not assume that every state has their own, has the same rules. That's not the case either. So when you're going to a specific place, my suggestion is to look on the government website, and or if you're going domestically in the States, look on the States websites. Also look on the airline and what their requirements are. These things are going to really help you and help you avoid being in an awkward situation by showing up to the airport and not being allowed to get on your flight because you are missing required information. Now, my fourth point kind of goes into what I was talking about before. Do not assume every country is the same. Every place is the same. Now, not only with requirements of getting in the country, but once you're in the country. Quarantining is a thing now, and that will continue, or possibly will continue, in countries during the summertime. So when you are doing your research, figure out what that means. I know that in New Zealand, you are required to have a hotel stay in country for a certain amount of days until you can go out into the country and explore. Same with the UK. If you are from a red listed country, that they will require you to stay in a hotel, to purchase a hotel room, and it's extremely expensive. It can add up the costs. So make sure to do that research to find out what your quarantining options are. In the UK, the US is not it's not a red listed country, so once an American is in country, they can choose to quarantine with friends or family if they have them there, as long as you are not a part of a red listed country. And last but not least, tip number 5 is to also know what regulations are in your own country when you return. Here in the US, the CDC has specific requirements or requests on what you need to do when returning back to the country. When visiting the UK, I am requested to have a 7-day quarantine, as well as having a negative COVID test on arrival within my 3rd or 5th day, between my 3rd and 5th day of being back in the US. Now, like I said, all these requirements, requests are constantly changing. Here in the US, it seems that it is not as regulated as other countries are. I don't know. I guess maybe there's just too many people for them to regulate. It's kind of like a Scouts honor thing, although I would strongly suggest for you to follow those rules and regulations. And that's it. I hope that you will find this video very helpful in making travel plans, maybe make a checklist of things and go through them, trying to understand exactly what the requirements are from your own country to the country that you are visiting. I'm so excited for spring, summer, and fall, and that the opportunity of traveling is right around the corner. Domestic travel here in the US is picking up, and I'm hoping international travel will be right behind it. I hope you all have a great day. I'm so happy to be back. I had a month off of making YouTube videos, and I had so many nice comments off you guys on my Instagram wondering where I was at. I just needed a little time to relax and refresh. So I am excited to continue making videos for you, focusing specifically on travel in the near future. I will see you guys in the next video. If you're not following my Instagram, do that. If you haven't liked and subscribed to my channel, please do that, because I will have more content coming your way. Have a great day and all the best. Bye.